much does YoungBoy get per show? If you were to guess.
I don't know. I'd believe, I was before saying 600, but based on what I'm hearing ticket prices are, like them ticket prices, like people are emptying out of piggy banks for them. I would imagine 800.
Close to $1 million.
Yeah, 800.
When you throw in the merch, he's probably clearing a ticket a show, a meal ticket.
Last year, while most 24-year-olds were stressing about student loans, clocking into entry-level jobs, or still figuring out life, NBA YoungBoy was sitting in his garage on house arrest, making $100 million. Let that sink in. $100 million from a garage he couldn't even legally leave. No tours, no public appearances, no flashy concerts. Just pure grind, discipline, and an obsession with work that the industry still can't wrap its head around. How does a kid from North Baton Rouge, a city drowning in violence and poverty, go from a 9th grade dropout to becoming the youngest rapper in history to pull that kind of wealth? How does someone who's legally confined to one property outperform entire record labels with teams of producers, managers, and executives working full-time? Today, we're diving deep into the phenomenon that is NBA YoungBoy, also known as Kentrell Deshaun Gaulden, the quiet storm who turned isolation into an empire. See, when most rappers drop one album every few years, YoungBoy drops projects like he's breathing. He's built a system that's bigger than music. It's a money-making machine, running from his laptop, his mic, and his mind. This isn't luck. This isn't hype. This is pure execution, built on pain, trauma, and an unstoppable drive that refuses to die. To understand how he became hip-hop's youngest multimillionaire, you gotta understand where he came from. North Baton Rouge, Louisiana, specifically North 38th Street and Chippewa Street, isn't just another rough neighborhood. It's one of the most violent zones in one of America's deadliest cities. The murder rate there stays sky high, and for generations those streets have been soaked in blood, poverty, and desperation. For a kid growing up there, survival itself is a miracle. Born Kentrell Deshaun Gaulden in 1999, YoungBoy didn't even get a fair start. His father, Jeffrey Tate, was ripped out of his life early on, sentenced to 55 years in prison when YoungBoy was only 8 years old. And we're not talking about some small-time charge either. His pops got hit with armed robbery and attempted first-degree murder after shooting a store clerk during a robbery at Al's convenience store on North Sherwood Forest. My daddy got 55 years. When I was 8, YoungBoy once rapped, and when you know the story behind that bar, it hits like a gut punch. His father wasn't just missing, he was gone for life. That sentence left YoungBoy growing up without a father, without guidance, and surrounded by nothing but chaos. But even worse, his uncle, Andy Gaulden, his mother's brother, was deep in that same life. Andy was known in Baton Rouge as a real stick-up legend, a robber who made his living off risk and reputation. But that life caught up to him too. During one of his own robbery attempts, Andy was shot in the head and killed on the spot. Another family tragedy, another wound that would later bleed through YoungBoy's lyrics. He would rap about it later, with pain in every word, about how his uncle got shot in the head while trying to hit a lick. That wasn't storytelling, that was his reality. His family was living the cycle of violence most people only see in headlines. Death, prison, poverty, it was all he knew. And instead of running from it, YoungBoy took all that pain and turned it into purpose. By the time most kids his age were playing ball or figuring out high school, YoungBoy was recording in small rooms, scribbling lyrics in notebooks, dreaming of escaping the streets. Every song was a cry for freedom, every verse a reflection of trauma. And from that pain, a fire was born. The same fire that would eventually make him the most streamed rapper on YouTube and a millionaire before he could even rent a car. This wasn't just music. It was survival. YoungBoy wasn't chasing fame. He was fighting for his life. And that hunger, that energy, is what separates him from everyone else in the game. He's not just a rapper. He's a symbol of resilience. A living reminder that even when the world locks your body down, they can't cage your grind. Think about this for a second. By the time YoungBoy was 8 years old, his father was serving 55 years in prison, and his uncle was dead from street violence. That kind of trauma would break most kids. But for YoungBoy, it became fuel. His mother, Sherhonda Gaulden, tried to hold everything together, but she couldn't be everywhere at once. So YoungBoy was raised mainly by his grandmother, Alice Gaulden, his rock, his protector, and the person he loved most in the world. In a 2023 Billboard interview, he called her his protector, and you could hear the pain in his voice when he talked about losing her. When she passed away, his entire world collapsed. With his father locked up, his uncle gone, and now his grandmother taken too, YoungBoy was left with nothing but the streets. He ended up in a group home, and that's where things got darker. It wasn't a safe haven, it was another battleground. YoungBoy faced physical abuse and bullying on a regular basis. "I had to fight for survival as a child," he later admitted in interviews. That experience forced him to develop a cold, violent side. Not because he wanted to, but because he had to. It was survival. And here's what makes his story different. Before he even hit double digits, he'd already survived a life-altering injury. As a little kid, he broke his neck while wrestling. The injury was so severe that doctors had to fit him with a full neck and head brace while his spine healed. The surgery left 3 scars on his head, permanent marks he still carries today. A reminder of the pain that shaped him from the very start.
I'm gonna give you some tea here, so for the people who care, might be interested in new information for you. Allegedly, YoungBoy made last year $100 million. Like, so if you ask my man OG3, right, which is a guy, when I was there, he was like, yo, we call him 100 mil out the garage. So basically in 2023, I think that's last year, he made $100 million just making videos in his garage, which is kind of like astonishing. Now you might think that's crazy, might think that's wild. From what I hear, and this is not from them, but this is from my breakdown, how does somebody make $100 million on house arrest? Here's a breakdown. Apparently, he sold part of the catalog that he owned for about like 35 million. He signed another contract worth about 30 to 40 million with Capital. And then a lot of, he did a few other deals. I won't talk about those. And then there was royalty also from his, from his recordings that he already had. And, you know,
the streets of North Baton Rouge weren't just dangerous for grown men, they were dangerous for kids. When YoungBoy was only 10, he lost one of his closest friends to gun violence. David Cobb, known as Lil Dave, was 16 when he was shot in the spine at a memorial picnic meant to honor teens lost to gun violence. The irony was heartbreaking. He died at an event meant to stop the very thing that killed him. Dave was killed by a chopper, YoungBoy would later rap. The loss changed him forever. Lil Dave had been like an older brother, teaching him how to smoke, shoot dice, and make a little money. Losing him at such a young age turned YoungBoy's heart cold. It planted seeds of darkness that would grow through his music for years to come. By the time he reached 9th grade, all that pain, loss, and street influence had completely derailed his education. School no longer mattered. Survival did. He dropped out of school and started robbing people, following the same path as his father and uncle. At just 14, he was arrested for robbery and sent to a youth detention center. But this is where YoungBoy's story took a sharp turn. While locked up, he discovered something that would change his life forever: music. During 6 months in juvenile detention, YoungBoy wrote around 25 songs. No beats, no studio, just pen and paper. He used writing as a way to unload the pain he'd carried since childhood. "It helped me know my purpose, helped me know what I want to do," YoungBoy later said. "It helped me learn how to express myself." That realization is what separates him from most. Music wasn't a hobby. It was therapy, survival, and purpose. While other teens were worried about classes or girlfriends, YoungBoy was pouring trauma into lyrics. Every bar was a confession, every verse a release. When he got out in 2015, he wasn't the same. 16 years old, broke, no industry connections, but laser-focused on one mission: never being broke again. He dove headfirst into music with a hunger that couldn't be taught. His first mixtape, Life Before Fame, dropped in April 2015, and it was as raw as it gets. No fancy production, just emotion, pain, and grit. Songs like Homicide and Range Rover carried anger and truth you could feel. But what really set YoungBoy apart wasn't just his story. It was his output. While most artists drop once a year, he was releasing projects every few months. Mind of a Menace dropped in December 2015, followed by Mind of a Menace 2 in April 2016, then Before I Go that June. It wasn't normal. He was treating music like a job, recording non-stop and building his sound on the go. Then came the breakthrough. 38 Baby, released in September 2016, named after his home street, North 38th Street. It captured his entire world. Sipping lean, carrying guns, dealing with betrayal, and trying to survive another day. The title track was raw, honest, and heavy. It showed what it meant to be a teenager who couldn't walk anywhere without being armed, constantly surrounded by danger, even from supposed friends. And here's what's wild. He recorded some of those songs while literally holding an AK-47 in the studio. Footage surfaced later, showing him in the booth gripping a weapon, a symbol of how real his lyrics were. The 38 Baby video blew up, taking him from a local name to one of the most dangerous new voices in rap. It was the moment the world realized NBA YoungBoy wasn't just another rapper. He was a movement born from pain and fear, turned into unstoppable ambition. The 38 Baby video was raw, wild, and impossible to ignore. It showed YoungBoy and his crew brandishing serious firepower, moving like soldiers instead of teenagers. People were shocked to see someone so young living with that level of danger every single day. It wasn't staged, it was real life. The video now sits at over 100 million views, but back then, it did something even more important. It caught the attention of the industry's biggest names. Kevin Gates, one of Louisiana's top rap legends, saw the video and immediately recognized YoungBoy's raw genius. Gates didn't just hop on the 38 Baby mixtape. He went a step further and got a tattoo of YoungBoy's face on his leg. That's not just respect, that's a declaration. Boozy Badazz, another Baton Rouge icon, invited YoungBoy to collab on My Lil Son, and 21 Savage jumped on a remix of Murder. These weren't random cosigns. These were veterans validating the next generation. They saw something real, something dangerous, something that couldn't be faked. But while YoungBoy's music career was blowing up, his legal issues were doing the exact opposite, dragging him back down. The same street lifestyle that gave him his edge was threatening to destroy everything he had built. By 2017, he was juggling multiple charges and staring down serious prison time. Most young rappers in that position would have tried to cool off, keep a low profile, maybe even clean up their image. But not YoungBoy. He doubled down. Instead of slowing down, he flooded the internet with music. Every few weeks it seemed like there was a new mixtape, a new visual, a new freestyle. He built one of the most loyal fan bases hip-hop had ever seen. People who didn't just listen to him, they lived through his lyrics. What separates NBA YoungBoy from the rest isn't just his talent, it's his insane work ethic. According to DJ Academics, who's close to his camp, YoungBoy's daily routine is on another level. He'll do a 2-hour show, Academics explained, then shoot a video before the show, and record music after the show. The show always goes on for him. Just think about that. Most artists finish a concert and go straight to the club or crash at a hotel. YoungBoy finishes his, grabs a mic or camera, and goes straight back to work. That's not hustle, that's obsession. He's addicted to creation. And that discipline is the secret behind his entire business model. In a world where streaming barely pays pennies, YoungBoy flipped the game by focusing on volume. He understood something most artists don't. If one song makes $10,000, then 100 songs make $1 million. He didn't wait for the label to promote singles or plan fancy rollouts. He just kept dropping. The proof is in the stats. In the last 5 years, YoungBoy has released more music than most artists drop in their entire careers. Dozens of mixtapes, albums, collabs, and unreleased leaks that still go viral. His YouTube channel alone has billions of views, and his streaming numbers stay at the top of every hip-hop chart. Even when he's not trending, he's dominating. But his grind doesn't stop with music. YoungBoy shoots many of his own videos, manages his social media directly, and stays connected to fans through unfiltered posts, messages, and leaks. He doesn't rely on big PR teams or industry filters. He's built a one-man operation, a 24/7 content machine powered by pure willpower. Then came 2021, the moment everything changed again.
And you know, it's...
I think they said he made like 50 or 100 million one year.
I mean, he's got a... I feel like NBA YoungBoy has the following every artist wish they had.
Yeah.
No songs on the radio, no big features on their own projects, and everyone eats the stuff up every time he puts it out.
Including his merch.
YoungBoy's legal troubles caught up in full force. Federal agents arrested him on serious gun charges, and he was placed on house arrest while awaiting trial. For most artists, that would have been the end. No touring, no shows, no studio sessions. Most careers would have flatlined right there. But YoungBoy turned confinement into a goldmine. Stuck at home, he built what fans now call the house arrest empire. From a garage in Utah, he set up his own studio, dropped project after project, filmed his own videos, and made millions while literally unable to leave the house. It's one of the most mind-blowing comebacks in rap history. Proof that no matter where he is, YoungBoy refuses to stop working. Whether he's free, confined, or under pressure, he keeps moving, keeps dropping, keeps winning. When you're on house arrest, you can't tour, you can't hit the studio, and you definitely can't leave your property to shoot videos. For most rappers, that would be career suicide. But for NBA YoungBoy, it became the blueprint for his biggest financial win ever. According to DJ Academics, who's had direct access to YoungBoy's inner circle, 2023 was the year everything changed. Allegedly, YoungBoy made $100 million that year. From his garage, Academics broke it down. "If you ask my guy OG3, he said, we call him 100 mil out the garage." That's right. YoungBoy made $100 million while being legally confined to his home. No tours, no red carpets, no label events. Just pure creativity, consistency, and digital dominance. Let that sink in. $100 million made under house arrest. There's never been anything like it in hip-hop history. No artist, past or present, has ever stacked that kind of money while being physically locked down. So how did he pull it off? According to Academics insider info, the money came from several massive sources. First, YoungBoy sold part of his music catalog, earning around $35 million. That move alone was genius, because unlike most rappers who sign away their rights early, YoungBoy had stayed independent for most of his career. That meant he owned his masters, the rights to his recordings. When his streaming numbers exploded, those masters became worth a fortune. So instead of giving them up completely, he sold a portion of the catalog for tens of millions, while still keeping control of all his future releases. Next came a record-breaking deal with Capitol Records, reportedly valued between 30 and 40 million, but this wasn't your standard label contract where the artist loses creative power. Nah, YoungBoy flipped the script. He maintained major control over his release schedule, music ownership, and branding. Capitol provided the resources, but the decisions still ran through him. It was a power move that proved he wasn't just an artist. He was a business mogul in the making. And that wasn't all. There were a few other behind-the-scenes deals, endorsements, digital campaigns, and royalties from his already massive back catalog, all adding up to that $100 million mark. Every stream, every video, every play on YouTube or Spotify was feeding into his empire. But what's even crazier is how he made all that money. While on house arrest, YoungBoy didn't sit around waiting for the system to free him. He built his own empire right where he stood. He converted his garage into a professional studio and video production space, installing top-tier equipment and using it like a factory. He was dropping multiple music videos a week, all filmed from the same place. And here's where the genius really kicked in. Every single video looked different. Through smart direction, lighting, and editing, he turned one garage into a dozen different worlds. One week he'd be rapping in front of classic cars. The next he'd be in moody lighting surrounded by smoke and candles. His team used post-production magic to make each visual feel fresh and unique. Fans loved it because it wasn't fake. It was real. The content felt personal, intimate, and raw. Instead of flexing luxury sets or fake backdrops, YoungBoy gave people an unfiltered glimpse into his daily life. Raising kids, working non-stop, and staying focused through isolation. The authenticity hit hard. The fans didn't just watch, they connected. And that non-stop grind kept feeding the algorithm. Every week, new drops. Every week, more engagement. While other rappers go silent between projects, YoungBoy flooded the system. He turned house arrest into his own digital fortress, a one-man operation with global reach. But to truly understand what keeps him moving like that, you have to look at why he works so relentlessly. At just 25 years old, NBA YoungBoy has 12 children with multiple women. For most people, that kind of responsibility would look like chaos. But for him, it's his motivation. His kids are the engine behind his hustle. They're the reason he keeps pushing, the reason he never stops dropping music, and the reason he's obsessed with financial independence. Every late-night recording session, every video shot in that Utah garage, it's about legacy. It's about making sure his kids never have to live through the kind of struggle he did. When you grow up losing everyone you love, loyalty becomes survival, and money becomes protection. For YoungBoy, this isn't just success, it's redemption. House arrest didn't slow him down. It turned him into a global powerhouse. While the world waited to see him fall, he quietly built a multi-million-dollar empire from a garage. In a game built on flash, flex, and controversy, NBA YoungBoy proved one thing above all. Even when they cage your body, they can't cage your grind. I got 12 kids to feed. YoungBoy has said that line more than once, and it's not just talk. It's the entire engine behind his life, his grind, and his unstoppable momentum. When you've got 12 children, multiple mothers, and an extended family that counts on you to keep the lights on, the pressure doesn't just exist. It defines your every move. But here's the key. This isn't about ego or flexing wealth. For YoungBoy, it's about rewriting his family's future. He doesn't just want his kids to eat. He wants them to thrive. He wants them in safe neighborhoods, good schools, and living lives that don't mirror the trauma he came from. He wants to be the stability he never had. That kind of mission takes money, real money. And when you crunch the numbers, the scale of that responsibility becomes unreal. If each of his 12 children needs roughly $100,000 a year for housing, schooling, and savings, that's $1.2 million annually just for the kids. Add in support for their mothers, relatives who depend on him, taxes, legal fees, security, and business costs, and the number skyrockets into several $1,000,000 per year. That's why his grind looks superhuman. He literally can't stop. Every day he doesn't create, record, or release is a day he risks falling behind. But for YoungBoy, this goes far deeper than money. He grew up without a father, his dad serving 55 years in prison, and that wound runs deep. He's openly said he's determined not to repeat that cycle. "I'm trying to break it," he explained. Despite his legal issues, the drama, the headlines, he's there for his kids. He posts about them, he spends time with them, and he's made them part of his daily motivation. To him, being present is more important than being perfect. In North Baton Rouge, YoungBoy watched generations of kids grow up without fathers, trapped in violence and poverty. His success is his rebellion against that legacy. It's his way of proving that someone who came from the bottom can not only survive, but build something that lasts. His kids are his redemption story in motion, and what makes his financial climb even more incredible isn't just how much he's earned, it's how he earned it. He didn't follow the traditional rap industry blueprint. No endless touring, no brand deals built on hype. He built his empire off ownership and volume. Two words most artists ignore until it's too late. While many rappers chase quick advances by signing away their masters, YoungBoy played the long game. From early on, he kept control of his recordings, which meant every stream, every download, every sync deal, every YouTube ad check went straight to him. No middleman, no label gatekeeper. He built a system where he was the label, the artist, and the marketer, all at once. His streaming strategy is pure genius. Most artists drop one album a year, maybe two if they're lucky. YoungBoy floods the market. He doesn't let algorithms forget his name. His YouTube uploads never stop. His Spotify and Apple Music pages are constantly refreshed, and his fans are never left waiting. He's mastered the art of digital consistency. That constant flow of content keeps him permanently relevant. The more he drops, the more the algorithm rewards him. It's a self-sustaining machine, and his fans eat it up. Every release fuels engagement. Every video turns into millions of streams, and every stream turns into dollars. It's why he's always charting, even when he's not doing mainstream promotion. And the smartest part? His direct fan connection. YoungBoy doesn't need radio airplay or award shows to stay hot. He doesn't chase approval from the industry. He built his own lane. Through YouTube, Instagram, and even his private fan platforms, he communicates directly with his supporters, unfiltered, raw, and real. That relationship is worth more than any marketing campaign a label could buy. He's turned his followers into a global army, millions who watch every upload, stream every song, and push his content to the top without him having to beg for industry support. He's proven that you don't need the system when you've built your own network. At just 25, NBA YoungBoy is living proof that independence, work ethic, and ownership can outperform old-school fame. His story isn't about luck, it's about strategy. Every beat, every post, every move is calculated toward one goal, providing for his family and breaking every chain that held him down. And when he says, "I got 12 kids to feed," it's not just a lyric, it's a mission statement. Because for YoungBoy, every dollar earned, every song recorded, every sleepless night in that garage is about one thing: making sure his children never have to live the life he survived. NBA YoungBoy doesn't just talk to his fans, he talks with them. He goes live, responds to comments, and drops unreleased clips straight to his socials. That kind of direct connection builds a loyalty that money can't buy. His supporters don't just stream his music, they ride for him. They feel like they're part of his journey, part of the mission, part of the story. And that emotional bond? It turns into real money. When he was still able to tour, his live show numbers were insane. According to DJ Academics, YoungBoy was pulling anywhere from $800,000 to $1 million per show. Let that sink in. One performance could generate more than most rappers make from an entire album. Some estimates even suggest that his full tour could bring in over $50 million in profit. After paying for production, travel, venues, and security, Academics claimed YoungBoy was still pocketing $50 million cash. Those aren't beginner numbers, those are superstar stats. Most artists grind for decades to even come close to that level of fan power. But YoungBoy hit it in just a few short years. Why? Because his connection with his audience is real. They don't see him as a distant celebrity. They see him as one of them who made it out, who stayed true, and who never sold out. But beyond the millions, beyond the fame and digital dominance, there's something much deeper fueling YoungBoy's fire, a psychological need to prove himself. That drive was born out of pain, losing his father to a 55-year sentence, watching his grandmother die, surviving the chaos of Baton Rouge. Those experiences didn't just scar him. They programmed him to never accept failure as an option. "I don't like disappointment," he admitted in an interview. "I just don't like to put too much faith in anything, so I don't really let myself get let down." You can hear the defense mechanism in his voice. A man who's felt so much loss that he refuses to leave room for more. That fear of disappointment became his fuel, pushing him to outwork everyone around him. If other rappers drop one album a year, YoungBoy drops 5. If others film one video a month, he's dropping one a week. It's not about staying relevant. It's about staying alive, staying focused, staying too busy to fall back into the darkness he came from. That trauma built a sense of urgency in him that's unmatched. He's seen death too young, seen freedom disappear overnight, and he knows better than anyone that success in this life isn't guaranteed. That's why he moves like every day could be his last chance. He treats his career like a race against time, constantly recording, filming, and uploading. That's his survival mode. But the same intensity that made him unstoppable has a dark side. That mindset creates pressure, anxiety, and isolation. It's the blessing and the curse, his greatest weapon and his heaviest burden. Even his closest people say YoungBoy rarely slows down or trusts easily. He's built walls so high that few can climb them. The paranoia from street life never fully left. It just evolved with his fame. He's watching everything, second-guessing everyone, and fighting to protect his peace in a world that keeps testing it. The same hunger that earned him $100 million also keeps him awake at night. But love him or hate him, there's no denying the impact he's had on hip-hop. His rise completely rewired how the industry operates. YoungBoy proved that you don't need to bow down to record labels or beg for radio spins to hit superstar status. He showed that ownership, work ethic, and connection could build a dynasty without traditional backing. His streaming numbers regularly compete with, and sometimes beat artists who have major label machines behind them. His fan base? One of the most loyal in the world. And that loyalty didn't come from expensive marketing campaigns. It came from transparency, raw emotion, and the kind of authenticity the industry can't manufacture. And here's the wildest part. His relentless output has raised the standard. Before YoungBoy, dropping one album a year was considered normal. Now, the new generation of rappers sees his blueprint and realizes, if you're not feeding your fans constantly, they'll move on. YoungBoy changed the pace of the game. He turned hustle into the new normal and forced everyone else to catch up. In an era full of temporary fame and short attention spans, NBA YoungBoy built something permanent. His story isn't just about success, it's about survival, strategy, and proving that even when the world counts you out, you can still build an empire from the ashes. NBA. YoungBoy's non-stop grind makes everyone else in the industry look slow. His constant output, albums, visuals, freestyles, live updates, has redefined what hard work even means in hip-hop. The bar has been raised so high that other rappers are starting to look lazy by comparison. Fans no longer settle for one album a year or a few social posts. They expect the same level of consistency and raw connection that YoungBoy built his empire on. They want more music, more honesty, more direct contact. And that influence runs deep. His business model has become the new standard blueprint for rising artists. Ownership of masters, direct fan relationships, and maximizing streaming income. These are no longer insider secrets. They're essential rules of survival in the modern industry, all popularized by YoungBoy's success. What he's done is shift the conversation from fame to freedom. He's showing artists that the real win isn't a label advance, it's independence and control. But the biggest impact of all? He brought authenticity back to the center of hip-hop. In a generation of industry plants, scripted social media personas, and fake beefs, YoungBoy's story stands as proof that people still crave something real. His fans don't follow him because he's perfect. They follow him because he's honest. Every scar, every emotion, every struggle bleeds through his lyrics and visuals. His audience doesn't just listen, they relate. And now, as of 2025, the story's reached another chapter. YoungBoy's legal situation has improved drastically. He's no longer under house arrest, and he's finally able to tour, travel, and operate freely again. But the wild part? That time in isolation didn't break him. It made him stronger. Being trapped in one place forced him to become more resourceful, more creative, and more disciplined than ever before. He proved to the whole industry that he didn't need tours, awards, or label push to dominate. His success came from pure strategy and consistency. The $100 million he generated from that garage period gave him a financial foundation most artists never touch in a lifetime. Instead of blowing it on chains or private jets, YoungBoy invested, buying real estate, funding business ventures, and securing his kids' futures. He's building multiple income streams that extend far beyond music, setting up generational wealth that ensures his children and their children will be financially safe for life. And even with all that success, the hunger hasn't faded, not even a little. If anything, it's intensified. He's publicly said that he wants to become the first rapper to reach $1 billion in career earnings. Sounds ambitious? Maybe. But for someone who's already flipped house arrest into a $100 million empire, that goal doesn't sound so far-fetched anymore. That drive, that relentless motivation, it all ties back to family. With 12 kids, and more likely on the way, his responsibilities are massive, but so is his determination. He's built a system that grows with him. Every new release, every new deal, every new milestone adds another layer to the business. His global fan base keeps expanding, his streams never slow down, and his name remains one of the most searched in the game. But YoungBoy's story is about more than just personal wealth. It's a symbol of possibility. He's shown that someone from one of the roughest corners of America can rise above the statistics. No privilege, no connections, just pain, persistence, and power. He's turned his trauma into triumph, proving that intelligence and hustle can break any cycle. His success also smashes stereotypes. For decades, people have looked at young black men from poor neighborhoods and assumed they'd never make it out. YoungBoy didn't just escape, he built an empire right from the middle of that chaos. He represents a new kind of businessman, unpolished, unfiltered, but effective. He's the proof that the grind is stronger than the system. And the way he handled his legal setbacks? That's another lesson on resilience. Where others saw roadblocks, he saw strategy. While some artists use charges as an excuse to slow down, YoungBoy flipped the narrative and profited from confinement. He found ways to record, release, and connect even while under restrictions. And that mindset separates the elite from the average. His version of fatherhood is unconventional, but it's his. Instead of abandoning his kids like so many in his environment did, he's made them his purpose. He doesn't hide them, he celebrates them. He's vocal about his love, about providing, about protecting. In an industry where fatherhood is often downplayed or ridiculed, he's made it part of his identity. And when you strip away the headlines and controversies, the core of YoungBoy's story comes down to two simple lessons: consistency and authenticity. Those are his superpowers. While other artists chase trends or wait for viral moments, he just keeps working. Day after day, project after project. He's not trying to be perfect. He's trying to be real. That's why he connects so deeply with fans, and why his legacy is already cemented. YoungBoy's work ethic isn't just impressive, it's educational. It's a playbook for anyone chasing greatness in any field. Outwork the competition. Stay true to yourself. Build your own lane. Because at the end of the day, success doesn't come from shortcuts or hype. It comes from grind, discipline, and never being satisfied with what you've already achieved. And that's what NBA YoungBoy represents. A living example that no matter where you start, consistency and authenticity can take you to the top of the world. NBA YoungBoy's business mindset is something every new artist should be studying. His sharp understanding of ownership and direct fan connection has rewritten the rules of how artists can win in today's industry. He's not just making hits, he's making history. While the old music system was built to keep labels rich and artists dependent, YoungBoy flipped that formula upside down. He showed that if you keep your rights, control your masters, and build a real bond with your fans, you don't need a middleman. You can capture the full value of your art and turn it into generational wealth. What's powerful about YoungBoy's story is that it completely destroys the idea that your environment defines you. Born into poverty in North Baton Rouge, with a father serving 55 years and surrounded by violence, the odds were stacked against him from the start. He had every reason to fail. No guidance, no support system, no blueprint. But instead of folding under that pressure, he used it as fuel. Every tragedy, every betrayal, every setback became part of his motivation to rise. His entire journey is a story of transformation. From a traumatized kid with nothing to lose, to the youngest rapper in history to earn $100 million before turning 25. That's not just a financial milestone, it's a symbol. It's proof that when talent, discipline, and authenticity collide, no obstacle is too big to overcome. That $100 million he made during house arrest wasn't just money. It was a statement, a declaration that no situation, no restriction, no confinement could stop someone determined to win. While the world was shutting down during COVID, while other artists were stuck complaining about canceled tours and label drama, YoungBoy was innovating. He built a full-scale empire out of a garage. He dropped music videos like clockwork, built his fan base bigger than ever, and showed everyone watching that success doesn't come from convenience. It comes from consistency. And that motivation? It runs deeper than rap. It's about his family, his kids, and the generations that come after him. With 12 children depending on him, and more possibly on the way, YoungBoy's drive isn't fueled by ego. It's fueled by responsibility. He's not chasing money just to flex. He's building an inheritance. He's breaking generational curses of poverty, neglect, and abandonment. The empire he's constructing isn't just for himself, it's for his bloodline. When you look at everything he's done, recording non-stop, shooting back-to-back videos, maintaining daily contact with fans, it's clear he's redefined what it means to be a professional artist in this era. This isn't about dropping one album and disappearing for a year. This is about treating creativity like a full-time job, clocking in every day with purpose. His work ethic is so intense that it's shifted the entire culture. He's made consistency cool again, and that's what separates him from most. YoungBoy doesn't sit around waiting for opportunities. He creates them. When labels turned their backs, he built his own studio. When the system locked him down, he found a way to make millions without stepping outside. He proved that limitation is an illusion when you've got vision and drive. Now, as he continues evolving, both as an artist and a businessman, his story stands as living proof that dreams don't have to die because of where you came from. They don't vanish just because the odds are against you. If anything, his journey shows that pain can be turned into power, struggle into success, and doubt into domination. NBA YoungBoy represents the ultimate comeback story. He's a reminder that even when life hands you every reason to quit, you keep going. His legacy is more than music. It's a masterclass in resilience, ownership, and determination. He's not just building a career, he's building a legacy. One that will continue to inspire every dreamer, every hustler, and every kid who's ever been told their goals were impossible. Because if a kid from North Baton Rouge, raised in chaos, scarred by loss, written off by the system, can turn a garage into a $100 million empire, then what excuse does anyone else really have? NBA YoungBoy is living, breathing proof that impossible is just a word. With enough determination, raw talent, and smart decision-making, he's shown the world that you can turn even the darkest past into unstoppable power. The kid from North 38th Street, the same one who started writing songs in a juvenile detention center with nothing but a pen and pain, has now become one of the most successful, influential artists of his entire generation. But what makes his story so powerful isn't just the money or fame, it's the message. He's proof that when you refuse to accept your limits, when you push past fear, and when you commit to outworking everyone around you, you can rewrite your destiny from scratch. NBA YoungBoy didn't just change his life, he changed the game. Every chapter of his story so far has been wild, unpredictable, and inspiring. From a teenager surviving the streets of North Baton Rouge, to a man who built a $100 million empire out of his own garage while trapped under house arrest. This isn't just about rap. This is about evolution. This is about showing the world what happens when pain meets purpose. And at just 25 years old, with 12 kids fueling his drive and an unshakable work ethic that doesn't stop for anyone, the craziest part is, he's still just getting started. The youngest rapper to ever touch $100 million isn't slowing down, he's leveling up. His story isn't peaking, it's expanding. Every record he breaks, every video he drops, every business he builds adds another layer to a legacy that's still being written in real time, and that should scare the rest of the industry. Because if YoungBoy could make this kind of money, this kind of impact, from a garage, what do you think he's gonna do now that he's got full freedom, global reach, and limitless resources? He's already changed what independent success looks like. Now he's on pace to redefine legacy itself. From North Baton Rouge to $100 million, this isn't just a success story, it's a revolution. YoungBoy has proven that even when the world counts you out, your grind can count you back in. He's turned pain into progress, tragedy into triumph, and struggle into strength. And the craziest part? He's doing it all while building a future for his kids, his community, and everyone who's ever looked up to him. NBA. YoungBoy didn't just survive, he transformed. He built an empire from the trenches and reminded the world that real power doesn't come from privilege. It comes from persistence. And if this is only the beginning, then the next chapter might just make history all over again. Because when the world doubted him, he rose. When they tried to silence him, he created. And when they locked him down, he built an empire. NBA. YoungBoy didn't just change the game, he became the game.